Hey, everybody, off the Mike Sports Network here, another edition of Off the Top Rope. Listen, so there's been this notion in the media this week leading into WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas that WWE has had a bad PR week. And, it was highlighted on Friday when some comments made the news from John Cena, who's heading into his last ever WrestleMania match, world title match, undisputed WWE Championship match against Cody Rhodes on Sunday. One of the bigger matches of maybe the modern era of professional wrestling. This is about as big as it could get. Cena going for 17, Cody being the face of the company, limited amount of build. It's really like, it's one of those things where it's been well built in the limited amount of resources that they've had. But John Cena, in an interview that he did recently with the New York Times, was asked about Vince McMahon. He said the following: "I don't care who hears it. I love Vince. I'm not downplaying anything that needs to be decided or allegations of any kind. But when I love somebody, I love them wholeheartedly. I know people are going to be angry about that, but they can't put their value on my relationship with somebody I love." Okay. Listen, I understand Vince McMahon is a very divisive topic in the wrestling community because of all of the heinous things that he did throughout his time in wrestling, and obviously the stuff that he is alleged to have done and is being tried for and trying to go through a whole bunch of lawsuits and ultimately was ousted from WWE. But let's get one thing straight. Wrestling is not where it is today without the contributions of Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Let's just get that out of the way. Whether you want to hear that or not, a lot of people's careers have been made, fair or not, because of Vince McMahon and the McMahon family. So listen, I understand how people are going to feel about this, but John Cena, yes, the optics is saying this the week of WrestleMania, but I'll get to that, why I have a huge problem with the way that, the media and the PR nightmare that's happened this weekend is kind of a bullshit narrative. But John Cena was a bodybuilder in California who was trying to be an actor, whatever, in around 2000, 2001, 2002. He ends up going into OVW, gets called up to the main roster, has that match with Kurt Angle, the Ruthless Aggression one, and the rest is history. And now he's one of the most famous movie stars in the world, about to retire 23 years later with one of the greatest resumes that this business has ever seen. If he doesn't get ID'd by people within WWE and given an opportunity and get all that money thrown behind him by Vince McMahon, then we don't see John Cena as he is before. So for that, I give Vince McMahon a ton of credit. And John Cena, there is nothing wrong with him saying that he loves Vince McMahon for what he did for his career. And even in that quote, which some people have failed to read, he understands that it is going to be a divisive thing, that Vince is not well liked. Hell, I will say this: Vince is a deplorable human being for a lot of the things that he did within wrestling while he was in control. And then obviously, a lot of this stuff has come up in litigation and, a lot of the lawsuits that he's been dealing with a lot of the sex trafficking and a lot of these other allegations that are out there that are still being litigated at this point. But he's not coming back to wrestling. But let's get real. This era of wrestling and WrestleMania being on its 41st edition this weekend, that doesn't happen without Vince McMahon. That's what John Cena is trying to say. And he is one of the many examples in this industry that got elevated from a no-name, nothing talent to the point of, hey, this is where we are right now with, him in his he's been doing this for 20, 25 years of his career. And he is one of the most recognizable and one of the most successful WWE talents of all time. That is inarguable. And that is because of Vince McMahon. That's all John Cena is trying to say. He is not talking about all of the other shit that Vince McMahon has said. So one thing, and this brings me to my next point, this notion that it's been a PR nightmare for WWE this week. Guys, do you guys realize how social media works? And you guys realize how media interviews during a big week work? and what has kind of changed with the curation of thoughts and engagement farming and the modern social media with Elon Musk and the way he runs X. So, and this is even predated him. So what happens during the week of a big event anywhere, like even when you're releasing a movie or whatnot, is you do a lot of press junkets and you meet with a lot of members of the press and you do a ton of interviews and you get asked a ton of questions. And what these answers are, whether it be Triple H, whether it be Nick Khan, whether it be John Cena, CM Punk had some stuff to say. You're going to go into long form interviews. You're going to be asked a lot of questions, a lot of them polarizing. And whichever ones are the most polarizing answers within like a 30-minute or so interview or a long form interview, they're going to get clipped off. They're going to get edited down. They're going to get transcribed and they're going to get plastered all over social media. And whatever context is into those thoughts of how that subject came about in an interview or whatnot is completely out of there. So we don't even know why these topics came up. Like, yes, obviously Vince McMahon is a big topic. Like John Cena didn't go out of his way to say this about Vince McMahon. He was probably asked a question about it because it's his last WrestleMania. So, like, this notion that somehow this was a bad week for WWE PR, guys, you know, and maybe some of this is by design. I don't know, because maybe that's the TKO UFC playbook, get them talking. But the reality of the situation is, come on, like everybody is overreacting. Like this Roman Reigns thing got way out of control on Thursday. Everybody saying he was a Trump supporter when literally in the quote, you could even read it and you could see it and just the way it was presented. It's just, this week with WWE PR is a microcosm of everything that is wrong with media today. And, I know our president likes to talk about the fake news and everything, which, kind of is his creation. But the reality of the situation is there is, just tabloid journalism and, cherry picking quotes that happens everywhere. And that's not the way to go about this. And you could take a quote, you can take out a few words and, misrepresent it, show a bunch of misinformation, and it starts a firestorm. And that's what happened with this John Cena thing on Friday with Vince McMahon when, hey, all he's saying is, hey, he's got love for the man who basically, brought him out of obscurity to being an absolute unknown, turned him into the most recognizable professional wrestler of the modern era. Like John Cena, like there's a reason why people say he's the greatest of all time. He might have been over pushing his era, but that guy came and showed up to work for basically a decade as the top guy and didn't take any days off, did everything he could to elevate the business. And, that's why he's in the position that he's in. That's why he's one of the top movie stars in the world. Like everything that we wanted to see from The Rock, because remember, Rock's like full-time run was not very long. Like I think he showed up in like, 95, 96 or something like that. And then he was gone full-time around 2002, 2003. John Cena was doing this full-time for basically at least 10, almost 15 years. So like, and a lot of that platform doesn't happen, fair or not, without Vince McMahon. I don't see what the problem is. Maybe that's a hot take, but like I said, it's yes, optically, given the fact that they've tried to publicly distance themselves a lot from Vince McMahon and a lot of the heinous things that he is accused of and whatnot. But come on, guys, grow up. And if you're the media, be better. Be better. Like this is a cultural thing where we just are all about, engagement farming. We're all about not omitting the facts, omitting context. And that's led to like just a horrible mischaracterization of what has happened this week for WWE. So that's my opinion on this situation. We will have a ton of WrestleMania coverage coming this weekend. Really excited about that. Live watch alongs for Saturday and Sunday. We'll also have post reaction as well. Like there's gonna be a lot of stuff going on. This is gonna be so much fun. Can't wait to do it all along. Thanks to the nearly 1,100 subscribers to this channel. You guys are awesome. I love you. Appreciate you. And I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.